just enough. Task the formal sector economy. It's very critical development in the economy. Yeah, I think that from Kumasi, if he's trying that we are overburdening the economy and formal sector. We have to look at if that is what you mean, then still clarify your point on that. Economic crisis is not about the wage bill. Just this government that want to grow the economy. He should put a stop to necessary spending, including MP salaries. Hey, my brother, the politicians don't play with that too. You know, they have to give delegates for them to vote for them again. Thank you. You don't like to hear that, but that is where the issue of corruption, because I always say it. That is where, because they are compromised even for the take help. I mean, it's become a tradition. That is where we have to start it from. Economic is not about the wage bill. Okay, fine, repetition. My net is 1,000 Ghana. I'm taking a lot of money. I paid 300 Ghana as income tax, and Ghana 20 as net contribution. Is that fair? This government should suspend the tax net. Please hold on. Maybe we have to bring a tax expert here one of these. I'm going to do that to explain that this one. I think that my panelists don't really get it. Yes, don't really get it. I don't know.
It's about right.
Yeah. Well, the analysis is about right. It's close to that, so you know what you're talking about. But we'll bring a tax expert here one of these, so you tell your questions and when they come. Nana, please. Nana, please. President and some of his appointees, are they really Ghanaians? Adams from Tamale. We are in Ghana. This has been telecast from Ghana, please. President JM is a wrong whatever. I think that is not very, you know, he might be doing his best. It depends on the kind of binoculars. I'm quite neutral on this issue. I wish him the best. But Afarijan and Atubiga Adams, you're going there to the petition. I beg, don't bring that one on my economic platform. Thanks anyway. I encourage you to bring more text. This NDC government is making life of the ordinary Ghanaian unbearable. Sure. People tell you it's always been like that. Year after year since independence, the economy of Ghana has not been any better. Maybe the rate now is a little bit. They always come out and say they are fighting against corruption, but within them is what? Wahala. Well, I hope I got your message right. Good evening. I wonder why some people in NDC speak like they are not in Ghana here. Whatever figures they put out there, we at the grassroots feel and know. I'm reminding them that 2016 is just around the corner. Entry. Alas, and Techman, yes, I was in Techman last week. That is fine. Techman for hi. Spread the message. They keep watching and bring out their suggestions and text messages as well. Mr. Kescliford will be leaving us very soon. He has an urgent call somewhere. He's been consistent on this platform. I don't know how to express my gratitude. Anyway, we'll find another platform for that. Is there a way forward? It's like gloomy. I mean, off record. It's like you just mentioned that the way we will do our things is like it's going to be very difficult tidying up the table.
There are several ways out. Several ways out. It's a question of whether you believe in what you need to do in order to be able to resolve the problem. In any financial situation, when you are caught like you are, and there's a gap between your revenue and your expenditure. In other words, you're spending more than you're earning. You only have two ways to do it. Either you increase your revenue to cover your costs, or you cut your costs in order to be able to match your revenue, or you do a bit of both in order to be able to balance out. And in this situation, it's not that complex. If you look at the expenditure side of government, there are two dominant items that are pushing the expense line up. One is the salaries and allowances of government payroll, which is very high. It is close to about some 9 billion in CDs, and then you have the domestic and international borrowing, the interest. The two of them, between the two of them, is about 4.4 billion. So you're spending that 4.4 plus 9 billion. That gives you 13.4 billion, which you're spending out on those two line items alone. And your revenue, your taxable revenue, income tax revenue that comes in, is somewhere close to about some 17 billion. All right? So once you've got that 17 billion, you now have to deduct what we call earmarked items that are constitutionally obligated for you to deduct, like your NHIL, your
those will be
social
fixed
security
costs.
contributions.
In the
Call them fixed
yeah,
costs,
fixed costs.
but they are not fixed costs.
Okay, in your technical
technical terms. But it'll be better to call them earmark.
Okay.
These are designated. You have to take
Alright.
7.5% of your total revenues and set it aside.
Okay.
Part of it goes to your district assembly common fund. Some of it goes to the MP's HIPIC fund and stuff like that. So you've got to take all that money out. Now, when you are finished, you're left with very little in this economy. So you don't have much of a choice.
Yeah.
If you want to be able to do more, you actually have to bring in more revenue. And what the NDC current government is doing is to tax as a means of trying to raise that revenue. Now, if you keep on doing that, however, your current base of taxes will shrink. Because one, when the economy depresses, people don't make enough business.
Yeah.
They don't make enough profit. So the amount of tax that they pay to you is
Good
lower.
deal.
Then the next thing they will do is they will lay staff off.
Okay.
When they lay staff off, government then loses the income taxes which are going to be deducted on those persons.
It's a vicious cycle.
So you're in a vicious cycle. So the philosophy for every successful economy, and the one that we particularly want to look at is the German economy, where when everybody was in a depression and cutting, Germany only asked their people to work part-time. Rather than going to sit home and not do anything, just work lesser hours, but keep the productivity going. That way, they still continue to get taxes from people who were still employed, and they were able to keep the economy going until things turn around. It has been identified as a way forward. So what would you have to do? Rather than keep taxing people and burdening them with all of this, you rather collect lesser taxes and get them to be more employed.
Good.
So the more you have, the more income taxes
It
you
means that the templates are there. Why is it that in our part of the world, a Nigerian former police commissioner said this on their network? I said, yeah, this is a bold man. He said, in this part of the world, I mean, in a very sarcastic manner, things don't say, as if we don't see these things. We give a blind eye.
And
Why is it so?
And that's why I said that if you have the sense of belief that what you're doing is the right thing, then more often than not you succeed. However, in this particular case, what we are seeing is not the workable solution, because you see, on the cost side, government is carrying far too much of a burden. Okay. In the payroll that goes to education and health sector alone, education is costing us about 4.5 billion, and health sector is costing about 1.6 billion. So with those two, you are paying 6.1 billion alone in payroll and payroll-related costs. All right. Now, if government sits up and says, let me stop doing this in the public as a public person, and let me allow private sector to carry on doing this, government can probably shed at least 2/3 to maybe 3/4 of that payroll out of its context and give that away to private sector.
Yeah.
And let me explain very simply. You see, we don't need government to be running all these district hospitals and cheap compounds and whatnot. What we need is for government to have a teaching hospital in every region. So that is your central hospital where any referrals from other smaller hospitals
can be attended
can be attended to. So government needs to keep those running and make them hospitals of excellence.
We can do that.
Of course
to
we can.
boost our health tourism.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
And then we can have that.
We can do
then
that if we want.
The district hospitals which we have, you can then sell off or lease off to private sector. So you don't destroy your health system, but you are just allowing it to be run by private sector. And because government is committed to the national health program, the patients or the clients, if you want to call them that, don't lose out, because they are still going to be taken care of by government. So that the social democrats who want to continue giving money away like that can continue to give their money away and feel happy. But the health system will not suffer.
I wanted to find out.
It will just be run more
I
efficiently.
wanted to find out the dimension of free. This free we don't have. But every government wants to give things free. From an expert view, is it a good thing? Is it tangible? I mean, is it good?
There always has to be a certain amount of support to the underprivileged.
Okay.
Where you have not been able to leverage the playing field in such a way that everybody can have the same advantages, there will always be some distortions, and you have to assist some people.
Good.
But our governments have used the free thing to be able to corrupt the system. Okay? And my typical pet one is the JIDA scheme. The National Youth Employment Scheme that was started, blossomed into JIDA, and now we have so much money. Over 6 years, JIDA actually spent 1 point something billion cedis, and we have nothing to show for it. The whole idea was to create youth entrepreneurship. And we don't have youth entrepreneurship because we still have the same number of youth walking around the streets with nothing to do. So the evidence, the physical evidence for us is sitting there in our face, and it shows that clearly it did not survive.
Before you end there, let me just say, because you have limited time, we will discuss all these issues when you are gone. But I want you to take a chip of those things. IMF, is it an ultimate thing for us?
Well, government has no... it has very, very little options, very few options. So it's most likely it will go there. But you go to the IMF, you go with conditions, and you have to meet those conditions. If government is prepared to abide by those conditions, then it will go there. But just yesterday, the IMF, in one of its communiques, in one of its international broadcasts, were asked specifically whether the government of Ghana have approached them, all right, to be able to, for them to borrow money, and they said no. But the Ghana government has indicated that it has its own homegrown solutions, which it is exploring, and it will carry on with those homegrown solutions. So, as far as the observable, open, public domain issues are concerned, government is not going for.
But Christian Lagarde is encouraging us that the IMF of today, the structural whatever program that existed in the past, is not as it is today, and they are coming to our aid with expert support, research, whatever. They are even coming to build an office here for research, blah 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 blah, to assist us. So we should not be hesitant if we want to come. They are not ready to do us in. They are prepared to help us.
Well, look, borrowing money from the IMF is the same as borrowing money from anybody else. The only difference is that your interest rates and your repayment periods are different. And with every loan that you borrow, those are the considerations you have to make. How much is it going to cost me? How long do I have to pay it back? So it's the same for everywhere. If you really want to, and you have identified projects which you feel these projects will enable you to make quick money, then you can go and borrow money on a short-term basis, finish what you have to do, and then...
That's an investment orientation. Invest it properly.
You have to look at it. Yes. You have to look at your structure and decide whether or not you can do it that way. But you see, here's the way I see it now. See, Ghana is not a big economy. There aren't that many people in this country. We're 25 million people.
Yes.
Out of which only about 6.5 million people are real labor force.
Okay.
The rest of them are children and old age pensioners. So the only number of persons we have who are actually earning money and spending money are about 6.5 million people. So we need to find a way of growing that market, so that when you and I are selling a product, like we're trying to do now, we're trying to sell a television product. We don't want only 2,000 or 20,000 people to be watching. We want 2 million people to be watching, so that advertisers will pay more because they know they are reaching 2 million people. All right. But when an advertiser thinks he's only reaching 2,000 people, there's a limit to how much benefit they think they will get from it. So it's not workable. Now, our sources of income currently are some oil, some cocoa, some gold, some other minerals, some timber, and some non-traditional exports.
With no value added.
It's not very much when you come to think of it. So, what I suggest that Ghana should do, what I would do if I had the authority, I would turn Ghana into a country of excellent internet infrastructure and ICT infrastructure base.
So we have the potential.
We can develop the potential, and I will turn it into a financial center. All right, look at it very carefully. In Europe, the UK is at the center. Is the center of financial services. UK is at the center. Everybody does business through the UK. Heathrow is one of the busiest airports in the whole world. But the UK is a small country. Ghana's land mass is bigger than the UK. All right? But the UK has close to about 75, 76 million people on that land mass. We have 25 million, and we are struggling. So if you create a country where the ICT infrastructure is so good, internet connectivity is fast, communication is perfect, electricity supply is constant, that people don't have to worry, you create a completely unique country within the sub-Saharan Africa, so that you are at a kind of a level with South Africa. But South Africa, because it's far more advanced, is a much stronger position. But in the West African hub, Ghana can become so strong. Ghana can become so strong once that is there, it means that international business persons who want a place to come and log in, settle down, and be able to carry on their business, they'll think of Ghana first, because from Ghana you can reach anywhere in the world very, very easily, smoothly, without any problem at all. Now, if you did that and you created that in a country where we have good democracy, we have good laws, and we have a friendly people who are prepared to assist anybody as they come in, and if you can fix your land issues and your investment regime, you have really created.
If I would not say,
sorry, and then let me round up. When you do that, you now have a country where the center of the earth is within.
I want to say relatively, there is this South African researcher, economic researcher, and the person of Terry Behan or something, the name is not right. He's just written a book about Africa, and he says connecting with the continent.
Right.
And in his discussion on the CNCB, one of the economic channels, international, he thinks that Ghana relatively has what it takes to be an investment hub in this on this continent, seriously. So I think, like what you're saying, we need to tidy up and be a little bit more serious.
And I agree with him, so that if I go and borrow money to do anything in this country today, I'll borrow money so I can lay fiber cable across.
Yes, he spoke about infrastructure. That relatively our infrastructure was good. So I don't know what we are waiting for.
All our road networks are available. You just have to build the cable along the road networks, and you are gone.
We are being lazy. Because yes, I mean, relatively, I think that we have the real thing is that we're being lazy. I don't know if we have to.
Not only are we being physically lazy, we're also being intellectually lazy.
I think that is where it is, because the intellectual thing is needs more energy than even the physical. Yeah, so I think we ought to. Well, to announce my WhatsApp lines, 050-6290-721. I'll go for a break, and when I come, I'll excuse Mr. Kesley. Thank you very much for this insight into and his opinions about the issues pertaining to economy. I read an American book which says when it comes to economics, there's nothing like common sense. The alternatives are so many. So we'll see what happens. We'll come back and we'll go to the my other panelists who've been keeping in silence, but also taking their notes.
What's the deal? This is Ludacris.
What's up, everybody? Easy, baby.
My name is Ben Brocco. Bim, 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 exploded.
Keep it live right here. I'll be the pump it. Let's go, man.
Within the camera, Zelda, shut it, sit it down. Shut it, sit it down. Shut it, sit it down.
Do you know that there are more successful people in Ghana today than before? Well, that is the truth. And the secret is in prudent financial planning with the right financial manager. You need to know the right fund manager who spends your money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 4 weeks in a month, and 12 months in a year. That manager is at Gold Coast Fund Management. At Gold Coast, your money never sleeps. It revolves every second to give you more money for use when you really need it. For the past 21 years, Gold Coast Fund Management has held a strong reputation of spending people's money to beat inflation, depreciation, and treasury bill rates. Put your money to work. Move from savings to investment. Pay your investment tithe into the Gold Fund and Gold Money Market Fund, and be assured that when you are in need, you can turn to them to resolve your financial problems. Gold Coast Fund Management. Investment advice worth its weight in gold.
Just announce my WhatsApp number 050629072, and your participation is key. You fill in the gaps for me. I mean, you help me a lot when these things keep coming. Let me pick a few messages I've had here. Our politicians don't think about Ghana first, but they first think about their pockets. Notwithstanding the manner in which the government acted when he was in vice president is what he's reaping now. Well, it's not very clear. That's clear. So our politicians think about themselves first. Well, their actions make it obvious. Good evening. I wonder why some NDC. Okay, let's go. Nana, I want to allow. This is a repetition, please. The NDC that. Okay, let me pick it here. Nana, I want to tell the man representing the NDC that in Dr. Bawumia's lecture, he put out the facts and the figures representing the state of the economy. That is in a crisis which the ordinary Ghanaian feels. Now, with all those insults, the longest-serving finance minister has come to confirm the NDC government has come to destroy Ghana. I don't know if it's destroyed. We're in economic turmoil or hardship. So let me just loosen the bit here. Entry, Alas and Techiman. I'll pick, sorry. Okay, thank you. I'll let my producer, the information streaming below, your screen is moving too fast. Thank you. Thank you. We are in touch to rectify that. Please, I'm Kwajo Button. Please, my question is, how come someone who was a head of a bank of Ghana was able to do well during Professor Tamil's era, but now he is a vice president? That is political. And head of the economy, things are messing up in our economy. He is, okay, I understand what they're saying. That is from Kwesi Emisa. You're talking about Kwesi Emisata. Okay, okay. That is fine. The government should be circumspect of their hope and aspirations vis-a-vis the promises they make to the citizenry. And that has led to overestimation of revenues and expenditure which are not feasible. Freddie from Praisuko, thank you, Freddie. So they got to be careful, huh? The promises might be too much. We need to spend within our means, but the reality is that we're spending more than we're supposed to. So what the government should do is to cut expenditure and borrowing. The government needs to set up. I think things will get better. That is your suggestion. Very good one. The economy is very bad, and from even the public workers, and some of the public workers are going into what? Sakawa, please. So what is the government going to do, because the future looks bad? That is Kasim from Tamale. Tamale folk, thank you, big salute. Nana, please tell the people of Ghana to stop insulting the president, because he's doing his best, and his best. Bah. Anyway, I like him. I like your costume. Oh, okay. Thank you. It's not a Ghanaian costume, so I have to change to Ghanaian. How can the previous and the current government be able to touch the informal sector of the economy, because it is very critical in the development of Ghana economy? But I mean from Kumasi, why should we widen the tax net, or we should forget about we either widen the tax net or we should forget about it? I mean from Kumasi. A lot of text. Let me read my last three and I'll continue to read the rest later. Please, do you have a site where the valuable ideas of our noble elders should be tapped for studies? Well, you can call my producer and she will let you on the same number afterwards. I think it was wrong for the government to invite the political parties to the economic forum. After all, it was said to be non-partisan. People should have been invited based on what they can do and not from any party. They definitely can't detach from their party's stand. I agree with you to a certain extent. I think individuals should have been not on party lines. Economic crisis is not about wage bill. Just that this government does not want to grow the economy. It should put a stop to unnecessary spending, including MP salaries. You said that. That it is not only SADA, SUBA, etc. There are other projects like Alternative Livelihood Program on oil palm by Mineral Commission in Dunkwa on a thing. Now come and see for yourself. The farmers are predominantly cocoa farmers and therefore not interested in oil palm projects. So the contractor only raises and throws some of the seedlings away. The contractor is only interested in the raising of the seedlings. He even throws some of the seedlings away because there are more seedlings. The more the seedlings go away from the nursery, the more he's giving another money for raising the seedlings. That is interesting. Very interesting information. I hope the big men are listening. Someone is listening. The representatives are here. So I'll take the rest of your messages later. Coming back in-house with my panelists, I still have with me Koku and his friend Mr. Samoa Jemfi. Mr. Samoa Jemfi, I think a lot has been said about solution, widening the tax net and all that, but my interest is about the tax net. Is there something that we can do about it? Some people believe that even the MPP should have started something seriously during the Kufuor era.
When we came in, okay, the economy was just 4 billion, right? We grew it to 8 billion. It was rebased to 16 billion.
Does that reflect that you did well in expanding the tax net?
When we came in, government, what was government level of revenue? Okay? Entire government revenue was about 4 billion. By the time we were leaving, it was in excess of 16 billion. Okay? The economy was growing. As in year 10, when the economy is declining. In fact, Professor Kosikocho indicated it. Okay? Whereas government expenditure is going up. As for me, I have a strong belief that government expenditure is overgrowing as a result of inflationary prices. The government is not getting value for money for most of the projects it is spending money on. And that is why the budget levels have gone up. But unfortunately, they are not looking at that. Like I said, we raise this.
I said it's Hydra-headed, so your issue is just one of amongst many.
It is not. You see, when they took over, okay, the deficit was about 5-6%. They told the people of this country that Ghana's economy was in coma. You know that?
That it's always been the trend.
Well,
when you took over,
when we took over in 2000, Ghana was highly indebted and poor. It was a hippie country.
And they also took over from you and told us that there was nothing.
The deficit was in the
trend.
No,
we are not interested in that. This is not the better for you.
You should.
We are not interested because that's the trend.
You should. Because we are comparing regimes which took over when the economy was virtually was on its knees.
Regimes that are not doing anything sustainable to ensure that Ghana takes its whatever.
What you need to do, like Bawumia told them.
It's beautiful cloak.
No. What Bawumia told them was that you cannot borrow your way out of crisis. And the very fact that because the economy has been rebased, okay, it was enough for them to go borrowing around. And if they did that, we're going to be in crisis. As we speak now, okay, over 6 billion is used to just settle debt.
The situation we find ourselves, could it not have relatively happened to any government?
If a government worked its sort, putting in place
these are your expectations.
Yes, when you are projecting, and in the projection,
internally, externally.
Yes, and we told them. The fact of the matter is that it isn't that we kept quiet. We raised these issues. Didn't they say they will continue to borrow when we said that their borrowing was too much? Didn't you hear them say that? And we told them that we'll be in crisis if they don't manage it well. That's the crisis we find ourselves.
The issue about borrowing is not that bad.
Yes.
But it is about what it is.
You must borrow in relation.
He will come to that.
You must borrow in relation
what exactly the money is being used for.
Your capacity to expand the economy, so that when you are repaying, you don't end up using all the monies you generate to go and pay interest on loans. That's where we are.
Maybe the expectation of the 3 billion from China.
That was not enough. We told them that Ghana didn't need that 6 billion loan they took from China. We told them that the oil money, on average, we're going to expect 500 million a year.
2016, there's more time. If that money comes and there's massive infrastructure development, will you be able to sit here and still maintain
as we speak, even the 800, the Atuabo gas project has delayed over a year and a half as a result of lack of money from China. You know that? You know that? What we're saying that we didn't need to go borrow that money because the oil money was something that was there, and all you needed to do was you were going to make a minimum of 500 million Ghana cedis out of that. And you could have decided that I am spending the oil money on these 6 major projects over the next 6 years. And so you wouldn't have, Ghana would have incurred any debt. You get it? So clearly, it is out of their recklessness. Pure, what do you call it?
They are seeking to correct it. If it is an admission of recklessness.
Yes.
Centiforum, whatever, the bookers
they lack the boldness. Yes. They lack the boldness to do it because the power they.
I disagree because they bold enough to invite the MPP to come and assist.
It is not about inviting people to come and.
Is it not decentralized?
No, let me tell you what the path they have taken is to cut government expenditure. Okay.
Which is prudent.
Prudent
to cut it down.
Cut it down.
Yes.
But as we speak, they said they were going to cut what do you call government subvention to our universities in paying water and electricity.
Yeah.
Do they have the boldness to do it? They haven't done it.
It's been withdrawn.
So how do you cut your deficit?
But that's not the only thing. In terms of the austerity measures that's been taken, that is not the only thing they have done. Let's be realistic.
What again? They said they wanted to freeze increment on salary.
Yes.
Could they do it? They could not, because workers say will not agree.
Relatively, they may be softly managing the situation.
Softly in which way? If workers had agreed to put a freeze on our salaries, don't increase it. They have to succumb and go and agree to it. Because if You spend recklessly on certain things that people see. Throw money at Jida and judgment debts that are paid under dubious means. You don't expect the people to
But in this situation, as a Ghanaian, what do you think we must be doing? We go to the Bretton Woods institutions and look for some more
If
money?
by the end of this year they are not able to achieve the budget deficits, close the gap or reduce it as they claim it, and all indications.
Is it feasible?
All indication shows they can.
Is it feasible?
They can achieve it. If they don't by the end of this
We
year,
cannot achieve it as a country, not they.
they can. They are the ones in charge. They have to achieve it for us to applaud them. They can achieve it. I don't see how they can achieve it because all the steps they've been taking have been resisted.
You talk as if you are happy they are not going to achieve
I
it.
am not. You see,
We should have used
no. You see, when
the first person plural,
when you are taking a path, and my duty was to correct you in that path, and I raise those issues, and you castigate me, insult me, and the time comes,
NDC,
what do you want me to do?
Has your party admitted that there's a problem? Do you accept there's a problem?
Shalom, we agree. Even Professor Butchie made the point the last time. He reiterated the point. We are not running away from that fact. The president, when he delivered the State of the Nation address in Parliament, made the point that we have a problem, but mid-term prospects very high. The president made that point very clearly. So we are not running away from the fact at all. Now, my colleague made some allusions. In fact, it needed to be dealt with because it may leave.
No, you go ahead and deal with them. I hope that my audience will.
Yeah. The first one is the first one is that he made the point that statistical service cooks up figures. I mean, I want to know whether it is his own view or is the view of the whole.
After that, I'm a little bit worried about the way politicians, especially experts, have always been debating and disputing. Hold on, that is my personal view. So I'm playing the devil's advocate. The dispute of figures, whether internally from external, not only by the NDC government, by politicians, is something that bothers me so seriously as a person. I do not respect figures that though I'm not an expert in economics, but it's something that worries me.
Yeah, but
I'm just a management student.
I want to find out from him whether it is his personal view or is the NPP's view, because
let's assume it's a perception.
I have a record here.
Let's assume it's a perception and find solutions to our problems.
When Nanado in Nigeria was asked about massaging of figures, he's here. Massaging of figures is difficult. One of Nigeria's leading newspapers, Sunday Vanguard, has described Nana Akufo-Addo as a fighter for social justice. It's here.
Yes.
But on
what
the point,
was his response about massaging figures?
That's what
I'm very worried about the way.
Great contrast between you massage figures as against the reality.
No.
Figures have been massaged, and now the reality
are you allowing me?
Moderator, please stay on the bell and viewers. Can you go ahead? I want to hear what Nanado said about massaging figures.
Yeah, here is Nanado. He said, in Ghana, we have something we call Dunso, and that is blackout.
Yeah. Have you got it? Have you got it? If not, let's attend then maybe later on the next whatever.
Yeah, it's here. In fact, he made the point clearly that the figures.
If you can find it, let's go on.
But in fact, the headline there. And secondly, he made the point about the fact that Parliament doesn't have money, and to the extent that
they've called us citizens.
Why is evidence?
Is it not true?
But was that said?
Why not?
Who said it?
But are you privy to the reason?
No,
because
how can you say that?
As Parliament
the point is that
yes,
the Speaker of Parliament or leadership of Parliament met and said they were postponing. They
never gave reason.
Fine, but let me tell you, but some of the members who were on some committees were outside and made the point that Parliament will not be able to form a quorum.
Okay.
That was how come they were postponing. Okay. So how could you have minority reducing that propaganda? It is never like that.
Ask you a question.
The speaker from the government side would like to cover on
the moderator wants to speak.
That is the reality.
The moderator wants to speak. I want to find out from you, my brother, Oku. Looking at our situation, Dr. Bocho suggested that we needed to beef up capacity at the Ministry of Finance. You think it's important? Do you think it's important as a person, an individual? Do you think that we need to enhance our capacity at the Ministry of Finance?
Yeah, I think
he suggested as an expert. And
sure. I think that the finance minister, for once, is a competent person.
Fine.
I'm not disputing that fact, and in fact, to the extent that he needs an extra mind of an economy.
Okay.
That's how come
he needs some support.
Yeah. So the president has appointed Dr. John Kofi Bafo to assist him. I mean, Dr. John Kofi Bafo has worked in African Development Bank as an economist, and now he is also in as an advisor. Now there is another appointee nominated, Mrs. Mona. I mean, I've forgotten the name.
It doesn't matter. But do we have? Are we preparing the stage where constantly, okay, there's going to be a kind of conduit where some key stakeholders of our economy will periodically give ideas and not to wait till crisis moments and then we meet on a boat or a mountain somewhere? Talking politics, mainstream,
yes.
Is this something that the current party is considering?
Sure.
Not only for the party, but a system
and national level.
Okay.
In fact,
so that any party that comes can tap it.
Sure. You know, the point has been made after the century. Forum. The point is that we should nationalize the process so that every year we go back as a nation. I mean, key people of our country will gather to see the progress we've been able to make.
Dovetailing this issue with what he suggested, that another thing that is really affecting our development as a country is that divisive politics, winner takes all. Looking at our current situation, I know there have been some extensions out there. Do you think it has really affected us as a nation, not from a political or whatever? Sure. Your opinion? The winner takes all. This person takes, and therefore he doesn't want to do this person. Even if you are capable, you are capable. You are appointed at a certain government. Once you are not, when the next government comes, it takes you over, and things have to be started all over.
It's a very dangerous practice. I mean, it doesn't help us at all.
Are there signs on the wall from your party or whatever that you're doing things like that?
NDC has been very, very considerate in this regard. I mean, you realize that Dr. Jesse, as ECG board, I mean, if you check the political parties, for instance, PPP running mate, it's now on NITA board. I'm talking about Ivaluko. Yeah. It's now on NITA board. If you check somebody like Professor Stephen Ade, on the board of EPA, you know, and a host of others.
That's a good sign.
A very good sign. And the president must be commended for it. I mean, very recently we heard that Calf Cocoa has to be paid judgment debt about $5 million. People do not even know what happened. This company came to Ghana, carried them because it is affiliated to Nana Kunedu and Jerry Rawlings. They refused to grant them the money they have to give them. They went as far as to Emeka Anyanku, then Secretary General of Commonwealth, just begging to beg President Kufuor so that they release the money for the family. He said, as for a company that has anything to do with his opponents, he wouldn't do so. Today we are paying $5 million judgment debt, and people are not worried about it.
I'll take it as your words.
You can check. Yeah. You can check from the former president's home that when the time was due for carry them to have their funds from government, whether President Kufuor released the money, he told. The delegation went to Chief Emeka Anyanwu, the Nigerian who was then the Secretary General of Commonwealth. He never released the money. He said he will not do so. And we have come to this point, $5 million. They blame NDC for paying a reckless judgment debt. That's a very good judgment debt that they have created. A host of them. It never helped us in any way.
What are some of the issues you outlined from Doctor's statement that you think are very important, that needs to be considered or under consideration by the current government?
You mean Professor
Kwesi?
Fine.
What are some of the things outlined, or any other thing?
Yeah, on the point of whether we are going for an IMF facility or not. You know, and in fact, he made the point that whether we go to IMF or the financial market, we will be, and the conditionalities are there. and the choice is ours. And in fact, from the way he's speaking, it's like he's pro IMF. But I think that government has made the position clear. On the 1st of April, the finance minister was in parliament and presented a statement and said that we have homegrown policies.
Okay.
That, yeah, and that's what gave birth to the 17.5% tax increment and the host of others that we are seeing currently. And in fact, if you check the VAT tax issue, realize that they've released the 34 non-core elements that will be charged. And for me, I mean, that's the way to go. We need to raise the money. The risk is there that in as much as you make attempts to tax a few people, there is a tendency for them to run away. So you have to expand the tax rate. And these are some of the measures, because if you check over the period, we have not been taxing some of these.
Koku, what do you suggest the issue of tax? Are we not overburdening the mainstream businesses? What are we doing? We've paid so much lip service to this. And I think that it was one of the issues that are being raised by all experts. I mean, finance or economic experts. What do you suggest? What do you think is really, causing the delay or any implementation of any kind of policy or whatever to ensure that the tax net is widening? Well, we always hear it's becoming a cliche. Widening the tax net. What does it mean to widen the tax net?
Sure. What does it mean to widen the tax net? In fact, what is it? It looks something huge in the eye of somebody who is not very good in the field. But my understanding of the situation is that every now and then they want to tax more people or more items.
Yeah, okay.
Fine.
Yeah.
And if you check, NDC suffered some backlash for putting tax on condoms.
Yeah.
And in fact, they made a lot of propaganda out of that. Yeah. That we even ignored them. But that one, for instance, had how do you go? Sunset clause.
Okay.
That by the close of the year it will be over. Okay. So that is a way of expanding the tax net. And in fact, it wasn't all condoms that were taxed, because the Minister of Health, for instance, has a tax break to import, so they were not covered. But you agree, condom, there is a condom that costs 20 cedis. Some people are buying. Yeah. So if that condom, for instance, is taxed,
so I think that sometimes it has to do with communication and education.
Fine.
The specifications.
Sure.
But if you come, because I've heard ministers coming to support this argument about tax income from the NDC, and it didn't really wash. I mean, I thought that it was very shallow. But with what you are saying, there's some category or specific whatever, meeting maybe the high taste or whatever, high income group who can afford condom for 5 cedis or 8 cedis. That should have been considered. That would have been a little bit here.
So in that sense,
you did not do your work well. I know politically you can say yes, so I won't put you in that corner for anybody to go and cry your paper on your back. So I want you to commit yourself.
I agree. So that is how we expand the net.
Yeah.
Then currently on the VAT 17.5 on the non-core business, you realize that these are areas that have not been taxed over the period.
Okay.
So if you see, I mean, a whole lot, about 34 items. So it's a way of expanding the net. But the bigger risk is as to how we are going to get to workers or traders in the informal.
People that I consider extra-legal, that you say are legal. But that is a term I borrowed from Hernando de Soto. He considers those people because they are not registered businesses or whatever, giving that recognition in terms of assets or whatever.
Sure.
Yes.
That is where the problem is. That's how we are going to even identify them.
Yeah.
And people raise the issue. Oh, I know that is possible. People talk about identification. If you do
the assemblies know them. They know every corner. Exactly. They go out to give them the whatever.
Exactly.
And the market tolls and whatever.
Sure. And even the assemblies have already been taking property rates from
all
from
those
them.
People, yes. Putting the kiosk here, tables there, and all that. And they even do the allocations.
Exactly. So for me, the point I've been making is that the decentralization process of government is just taking too long. It's about time governments take off the wage bill of those in the
that'll be too radical. It depends on the location. Because some assemblies are damn poor because they don't have the resources.
No, they will raise the money. I have heard Dr. Babu of University of Ghana School of Economics made the point that some of the revenue collectors from the assemblies are not even willing to take check. So you can just imagine what's going down there.
The inconveniences.
Not even the inconvenience, but what is the point for you always to take money? And for me, I am suspicious of that process, because if you take the cash, there is a tendency that you will not even, account for it for the assemblies. And the check, you pay it directly into the account of the assembly. That is my suspicion.
Cutting down of government expenditure. Dr. Botchwey emphasized we should cut our cloth according to our size.
Sure.
And that one is a common sense economics. Everybody knows that.
Sure.
Recently, we have Ghana Disabled Whatever, which has a factory of producing chalk. Government, in its failure to supply chalk to school, with all the difficulties, get few boxes of chalk. And Kwaku, as I sit here, I saw with my own eyes the chalks were labeled made in China. And I wondered what we are doing to our indigenous industry.
Come again, the one produced by
That's also what was supplied by Ghana Education Service. What was supplied for last term or early part of this term, 2 boxes of chalk to a school, was an imported chalk from China. So I wonder our commitment. Is government committed to cutting down expenditure and, revitalizing local industry? Just to show if not even exporting, just cut down expenditure.
Sure.
I don't know if you don't know. No. Information.
Yeah.
Take it out there and let them it's worrying.
Thank you, but
are we committed?
No, why not?
Ensure that we grow indigenous whatever to attract more revenue from within.
Before we got to 2012, for instance, we brought it down close to about 4.7, the deficit.
Okay.
What MPP left, we brought it down to 4.7. It's not beyond that as a government.
Sustainability is the key.
That is the problem. And in fact, like I'm saying, if you check what brought us this far, about 1% of shortfall in corporate tax, especially from the petroleum sector, is to blame for the deficit. As for single spine, that's what MPP is making a lot of capital out of. About 2.7 of GDP. That's the difference. And in fact, if you take the increases in rising interest, that one is about 0.3 of GDP, and also utilities and subsidies, also 0.5. And in fact, then we have the grants also not coming from partners. Yesterday, Denmark made the point that they will not be giving us grants any longer, and that we have to do business. And in fact, it's because we have become a middle-level income country. So we are not going to get those goodies any longer. We have to face,
but it's high time we took care of ourselves.
So that is where
homegrown. Because every economist or whatever is telling you homegrown. It's what you have. Our taste for foreign goods are just unfortunate. Not even quality goods.
Thank you. That is why I am even expecting the MPP to be acknowledging what President Mahama is doing.
What has President Mahama done?
As we speak, we are spending about 3 million Ghana cedis every day for crude import, just to power our thermal plants. It's not easy. As we speak today, the statutory funds are not going.
Yeah.
It's just not easy, but the president is doing his best. In the past, 2008, we have to even sell Ghana Telecom to even fight inflation.
Can we look ahead and always think about what we are today?
We haven't sold
that is what is suggested. I don't want to go into that. No, I don't even have the time.
Even the merchant, the 5% golden share in Ashanti.
Oh, you sold it.
Sold by you.
You sold it.
You know what?
You want that record? You want that record?
It's a platform to tell the audience. Let's tell the audience what you are doing after Senchi. So please don't let us go back. He has nothing to lose. He may only distract you.
No, he has a vested interest in the elections of
Ghanaians are not interested in the economies of the past. They want to solve their problem. It's a butter and bread issue today. The technical words, the figures and all that don't really mean nothing, because seriously, when you go in for your campaign, you don't go with these figures. It is only when we meet like this.
Yeah.
The issue is about tribal politics, who is bad, who did this, who did that. So let's educate the people. What are you doing? Use the platform.
But you agree that the records matter.
When they matter to those who need them.
So we'll look at that. The point I'm making is that the president currently and his team are spending about 3 million Ghana cedis a day on imports of crude every day, just to power our plants. I mean, can you imagine what that $3 million cities would do in
the economy? But we need energy seriously, because yes, if the energy, it is supply and demand.
Sure.
So if we are supplied and it is being used well, certainly Nigeria is doing well industrially, in quotes, relatively. But NAPA does not, it's not effective.
I agree.
So people have big plans.
Sure.
Provided there's demand, there's market. That is the issue.
Sure. So as we speak,
I don't see it as a waste. It depends on what we are using the energy for.
As we speak today, the energy minister has made the point that government has bought about 3 thermal plants, one for Takrady, and that one is supposed to generate about 110 megawatts of energy. Then one for Kong, 220 megawatts of energy. Then there is another one, they call it emergency ship. And that one is bringing about 200 megawatts of power, 530. And that is what government is doing as we speak today. There are plans now to bring on board the Usajivo batch. And
a lot of attempts about the energy sector. I believe that you can go on that is positive. Issues that my callers or WhatsApp message are demanding about your reaction to the supposed perceived corruption that is taking place. And Dr. Botcho raised an issue on that we have to adopt a quick action. Are we comfortable with the way things are going to retrieve our monies, put the penalties or whatever it is on them, to use them judiciously?
We need to. We are not in
Dr. Botcho, a member of the NDC,
I agree,
claims that things have been too slow, dragging. But is it deliberate because people are perceived as financiers, and therefore you are doing all this deliberately to delay? You don't want to put your own behind them, whatever. The wrong is wrong.
Sure. Professor Mill,
so how do you get sympathy when you are messing up the
grind slowly?
Yes.
But we definitely get there.
Not at the expense of our economy.
I agree, but
because economy is about life and death.
I agree, but
people are dying in the hospitals because they don't have efficient services. It does not mean that is attributed to weak economy.
It does not mean you go Rambo style on the basis that people owe you and go and drag them from their houses. And no, we are in the era of rule of law.
Yes.
And that's what we are into. And the issues are in court. What are the issues?
But for someone like Dr. Botcho to say it's dragging, it means
he has
more than meets the eye.
He has a genuine concern.
He sees what I don't see.
No, I see what he sees.
And that is why you are sitting here.
I agree.
Yes.
But the point as well is that if you get a judge, for instance, who is sitting on that case, for instance, to speak to you on this issue, to explain this side, or maybe the Attorney General to explain to you the processes. For instance, to even get Isophoton, their agents, the legal agents here in Ghana, to even serve, they were even running away. And they were finally found and served. So, and these are you cannot just do anything because there are human rights courts. If you do something extra legal, you can be taken on. And in fact, some of the companies are paying, as we speak, Agam groups have paid about 14.5 million. Wuyome is in court. He's to open his defense. He has started implicating some people. And in fact,
why the way you did implicating some people?
Oh, they know themselves. We'll get
hold on, politicians have always been good best friends. Can I pick this? The president's intention and activities had geared towards the next elections, far from the next generation. You see that? And had deviated and disappointed Ghanaians. Well, 2016 will judge whether he's deviated or not. Ghanaians, that is Freddie. Just hold on. I just want to pick a few text messages. Sorry for the delay. I know this is not a topic today, but be of help. Why should Ghanaians be making millions of dollars for foreigners in the country? And at the end of the month, their salaries, nothing to write home about. Yes, and nothing to write home about. Fair Wages and Salary Commission should extend their wings to private sectors as well to help reduce poverty and crime. and he brings a gun by the crime. I beg, please take it easy. Foreign investors are cheating Ghanaians at the end of the month after making millions of dollars for them. And this also contributes to the hardship. Labour Commission, fair wages and various unions must be up and doing. Kwesi from Takwa, thank you very much. It's a very serious issue, and even incentives to investors will be running up soon. Let me just pick this. Please, do you have a side where all these valuable ideas of our noble, okay, you can call. In fact, Nana, our noble country needs a benevolent dictator. We are tired with these politicians from James, Bibiani, all over. Thank you very much. Join us same time next week. Nana, how many people in Ghana are on government payroll? I think I have to check. I'll tell my producer to assist in that. I don't have the capacity as a sit here. Our politicians don't think about Ghana first, but they firstly think about their pockets, notwithstanding the manner in which this government acted when he was vice. Okay, you said that. The only way we can save our economy is to put politics out. Well, politics is difficult to do that. Our whole life is about politics. We've heard a lot of words. Let's take actions. Owen from Achimota. Thank you, Owen. And maybe this will be my final one because I have to come in the house. I have my roundup. From Nana Yao Techi Atsunyani, Ghanaians are not interested in what's happened under the MPP now. But what the NDC is doing to curb this hardship, the NDC have brought on us corrupt practices. Sorry, I can't pick those words very well. They should therefore spare us with the unnecessary comparison. They always think of next election instead of for next election. So all politicians think about that. It means a lot to them. I have to end up now. Just, Mr. Samoja, if you've been on the quiet, I gave your friend considerable time. Just a few words so we can round up.
You see, like one of the they've been voted into office to deliver. All right, and they must deliver. We as an opposition, we are doing what is enjoined us by the Constitution to put government on its toes. We forewarned them and told them that the way they were running this country, we're going to be in this crisis, and we'll find ourselves in it. The sad aspect is that it's workers that are going to suffer, because next year they have to lay off workers as part of the so-called homegrown solution. One, yes, please.
Just run up.
You are, as we speak, some 300 staff of the Statistical Service are going to be laid off by next year. It's a fact. You've taken a $30 million loan from the World Bank for that purpose. Okay? What pains me is that out of their recklessness in spending an over-budgetary expenditure in excess of $8 billion is what has brought us this far. They should admit that to the people of this country. For the purpose of buying votes, they decided to do that. And now we are in this crisis. The most painful thing is that the $8.7 billion of a budgetary spend, not a single capital investment was done. The major roads that they were supposed to do has never been completed. Okay? And yet, there's nothing to show for the money. You and I have been told to pay for it.
I hope to fast track them one day when you take government.
Fast track which way?
But first, you don't understand what I mean by fast track.
No, you see, the sad thing about this thing is that government can overspend, but there's no sanctions to it. And so that's why I'm saying that if they are really serious to deal with this crisis, they should bring in, like Baumia said, a bill that will restrict government from borrowing beyond a certain limit.
Could just round up, just 30 seconds.
Yeah, he made
because
the
you had
point,
enough time.
he made the point that government will be laying people off. In fact, it's not really the case. That is an IMF policy if we were to be going to IMF. Yeah. And here's the point.
And that is why you are dodging.
No, I mean, it's not.
You are hesitant.
No, we have homegrown policies. Why do we always have?
I'm happy about the homegrown policies.
Yeah,
it should apply to every facet of our lives.
No, and you check, for instance.
Don't import truck from China anymore.
We will. Sorry, we wouldn't.
Yes.
But the point is that I have a record here. I mean,
just round up. Oh yes, my time.
That's public sector jobs now.
Okay.
7th March 2014.
That was a misquote. That was a total misquote.
He is even making the point that government is delaying in carrying out through
that is not it.
I think you have to create a platform to communicate this out there to subdue the minds of those who got this information. Yes.
No, it's that. Let's run up. FMonline.com.
Yes,
so it's not a creation of anybody.
Let's run up.
I mean, government.
So what do we expect? Should we be optimistic? President Mahama said we are too pessimistic. How optimistic should we be? You should show signs.
In fact, the president has also made the point that the darker the night, the nearer the dawn.
We are in a deep black darkness. We are not seeing any. We have not seen any light at the end of the tunnel yet.
You would have wished for an eclipse.
I don't expect
You don't want the night because things happen in the night. We have not seen. If it's an eclipse, then you know it's 1 hour specific.
We are in it for too long. We have not seen any light yet.
I don't want the darkness of the night. I just want an eclipse so that it just passes by smoothly.
Pitch black.
On this note, thank you very much for staying out there. Unfortunately, I cannot pick the rest. They keep coming. Thank you. Spread the word. You're part of the program. It's because of you that we're here. Thanks for the assistance. You supported me by filling the gaps. Your suggestions, questions really filled me and made my work very easy. Big salute out there. And to my guests, I have Mr. Jemfi here and Koko at the other end. Familiar faces. They keep coming all the time. Thanks to Gold Coast Securities First National Service and Loans, Coconut Grove Hotel. Big salute. And always keep the WhatsApp number 0506290721. Keep it so in case I forget, you can correct me by sending your WhatsApp messages ahead. On this note, next week, same time between 3 and 5, we hope to do something on the economic platform. This is On the Banner. My name is Extra Ngone. Bye-bye.